Changing out a fireplace can seem extremely overwhelming. We moved into this house, had a terrible, hideous fireplace. We are gonna be taking this fireplace out. I'm gonna give you all my design tips, how this project went, what you need to keep in mind when changing out your fireplace, and just how easy it actually is to do. I'm gonna talk to you about some common misconceptions, my biggest pet peeve that I see when people put fireplaces in a house, and we're gonna go through step-by-step process of a before and after, what's involved with the fireplace upgrade, and if it's something realistic that you can do at home. So let's start with the need to change this out and why I realized this absolutely needed to be the first project in my house. And quite frankly, 95% of the homes in America are in the same boat. So let me turn this on just to illustrate the point. Now the remote for it is busted, so I gotta get down here and fire this baby. But let's turn her on just so the audience at home can see what a beaut we're dealing with here. All right, well that's warming up. Let's talk cosmetics. So the previous homeowner went with like this sort of sheet metal design. I don't think sheet metal is the right term. So there's like an industrial beam. So they're kind of trying to tie everything together. And you can see they have it on the above the range hood too. So there's no right or wrong there. Personally, I'm just not a big fan of it. So we're gonna be ripping that out. We're actually gonna rip out the one above the range hood too. And we're kind of going with some warmer tones. So we have some more of some natural stone, like some fluted stone we're thinking for the fireplace. So we moved into this house, obviously very excited. We loved the big gourmet kitchen. We loved the 9-foot ceilings, the sort of grand living room, how it's all tied together. Now, what people don't realize is they'll spend extra money on countertops. They'll go crazy with their kitchen cabinets. They'll go crazy with their flooring. And then when it comes to like the biggest focal point of the entire living space, they put in the most base grade turd that exists. Look at this thing. Look at this hunk of junk. So this is what they chose. Now, I don't blame them. Most people here are uneducated when it comes to fireplaces. There's just not enough education within the fireplace industry going on to tell people all the better options that are out there. This is where I sit literally every morning. I have my coffee right here, and now it's dead of winter and it's freezing in here. And this is what I got to stare at every morning when I'm trying to drink coffee at 5:30 a.m. Let me tell you something. No, thank you. This is on full blast. It gives off zero heat. It does nothing cosmetically, and it is just a big, black, empty, gaping hole. So that's what people are choosing as the focal point of their living room. And people are like, fireplace doesn't move the needle that much for me. Don't need to spend the money on it. Well, no, duh, that doesn't move the needle for me either. I just skip it too. I've been mapping out different fireplaces that I want to put in here. So the fireplace we're choosing, I was between the 42 and a 55 inch. I ended up going with 55 inch because we're gonna be widening these walls basically all the way to the windows. It's gonna be a little bit deeper. And most importantly, we're gonna have a fireplace that actually performs. So it's not gonna cook us out of here, but when I'm sitting here in the morning, when it's chilly and cold, and you're ready to wake up and feel nice and cozy, we're gonna be able to accomplish that goal. Wanted to touch on a common misconception. So a lot of people come into our showroom, a lot of people call us on the phone, and they will tell me, hey, they finally come to the realization that this thing's a piece of junk and they wanna change it. But they come in prepared to buy a fireplace, and they are thinking that they can literally just pop this baby out and pop a new one right in and basically leave this whole area untouched. 99.99% of the time, that is false. Because if you think about it, if that's installed, there's nailing flanges in the 2x4s in behind this. So there's no way to get it out really without causing damage to your surround. Now we have sheet metal, so in theory, we could pop this off, take this out and put a new one in. We could probably, with this particular finish, do it pretty easy. But if you had tile or stone or brick or something like that, you're gonna have to at least take off a row of brick. Now there's other things that we'd have to consider. The size of the new one, usually better performing units are higher heat output, higher flame output. They have different framing clearances, different vent clearances in the way they're gonna exhaust. Although we have to change this out, it does not have to be something we have to be scared of. It's usually pretty simple. It's just a little more involved than popping it in, popping it out. So why do people put in the most base grade option? A couple reasons. One, Every tract home in America, if it's a tract home, the builder specs in the fireplace, and all the builders spec in the most base grade units because they have contracts with fireplace companies to literally buy 4,000 of them, and it's going to be the most base grade model at the most base grade price, and they're going to charge you a premium to install it. That's one reason. Another reason is just even contractors and higher end custom homes. We're seeing base grade units going like $2, $3, $4, $5 million homes. It's ridiculous. And the reason is those contractors, it's just what what they're familiar with, and sometimes they just default to it. Even contractors are really uneducated in the fireplace field. For some reason, unlike other home decor projects or products, it's one of the lower educated things that people are educated on. That's why you need this channel, so you can know everything you need to about fireplaces. All right, there is a strong chance I overdid it. It's humongous. You know, I'll take a picture of me standing next to it, but it's huge. It's the biggest fireplace I've ever seen. Got a little excited. So you can see we demoed out everything else in here. I did set up the logs because it's already cold outside, and the framing and tile is going to take several weeks. In a normal situation, you would not set up any of the inside until everything is done. However, being in the industry, I knew I was going to need to use this thing while we continue to work. So that's why I temporarily set up everything on the inside. You can see we had to move the gas line. I moved it in a way where we're going to hide it in this cabinet for my shutoff valve. We did get the side walls framed up. And then a couple things. So you have to worry about moving the gas line. And then the old vent went out right there. The new vent, we had to lower it because we needed some heat clearances. So we are going to have a small patch on the outside. But you can see, relatively speaking, it's really not that much, that big of a deal, especially if you have a bump out in the room. You just wipe that whole thing out, put the whole new one in. We did punch out the tops, so heat is going to blow out right here. It's going to hit this fender and then go inside this cavity. So we have these vent openings on the top, left and right hand side. That's really, really crucial because that's going to help keep this wall cool for our TV that's going here. You can see we have the old electrical still here. We're going to mount that once that's framed with like a recessed box that we have a nice flush mount TV. Right now when it's unfinished, it's going to look huge. All right, but as you start closing it in, it's going to shrink the look about 20 or 30% and help it feel a lot more open. We're going to make this the anchor of the entire living space. Now this is not uncommon, and this is why we say you shouldn't go cheap or skimp on the fireplace, because typically it is the anchor point of any living space, or should be. That's very common where that should be designed around. So we're making this the anchor point of the whole space, and I think it's going to really, really tie the room together. Now I can tell you, using this thing, drinking my morning coffee while it's freezing cold outside is much more enjoyable. You can see I'm in my workout clothes. I have to quick shoot this video before I head to the gym because the framers are coming, and I wanted to get a shot of this before it's all wrapped in. Now, if you're doing a smaller fireplace, what you probably would notice is we kind of did this a little bit backwards. We set the fireplace first and then framed around it. All right. Typically what you're going to do, if you're not dealing with a big model like this baby's almost 500 pounds, you may frame out the space first and then put the fireplace in. But this was just too big. It's too much of a monster. We had to set the fireplace first and then frame around it. Now that might be especially true if it's raised up off the ground. So if you're raising this off the ground, you're going to have to build a platform or something for it to sit on. But since this went right on the floor, a few things to keep in mind. Some models might require floor protection. We have some paper down just to protect the hardwood, but if not a heat issue, hardwood can go right up to it. But some models might require some tile or something out in front of the fireplace if you put it right on the floor. We have our heat out kits. We got our electrical for our TV. Obviously the new gas line is connected. Now we're pretty much ready to roll and continue with the design. I'm excited for you guys to see how it really starts to tie this whole room together, and hopefully my wife will quit panicking at how large this looks. Mike got a little excited with the big one. We'll see. All right, here's the finished product. So let's kind of go over some details. This is the Urbana 55 traditional fireplace. I was between two models. As I was mentioned before, I was looking for something really big that's a sealed direct vent unit without messing with room air. There's really only two that exist. There's the Urbana 55 and the Town & Country 54. So I went with the Urbana 55. Really, really happy with it. Really good heat producer. I think it looks great. I love how that flame is really centralized and fills up the firebox. I'll get to the herringbone panels in a second. I was thinking about doing something different with that, but it's really one of a kind with it being this big. I think a key component is if you're gonna go this big, the wall needs to match with it. So we really widened the wall, basically took it all the way in between these two windows, like as tight as we could. So we widened it to kind of make it to scale. You don't want too many like central pieces competing with each other. The fireplace is sort of the anchor of the living room, which a lot of people try to do, but they might execute it with really busy furniture or like an accent stone wall, and it's just a lot. So in a living room this big, we wanted the fireplace to be the anchor. So that's why we were okay with going with the bigger fireplace and the bigger wall, because this is the focal point of the room. The fireplace didn't match, you know what I mean? It wasn't on par with the rest of the home.
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all. But now we've changed that. So now it looks like this fireplace belongs in a home like this. And that is so stinking overlooked in all of these high-end custom homes that we do. I see the world's worst fireplaces we sell in these grand custom homes. It's so annoying. This is what you need to like turn your living room into what you want it to be. I ended up going with a fluted limestone. This was actually really difficult to get my hands on, but I wanted like a natural stone. But the problem is with a lot of natural stones, they can be very rustic and almost too traditional. But I didn't want something overly contemporary or modern. So I think this sort of blends the two together. It's sort of modern, contemporary, but more of a traditional, warm feel. Ran into a couple issues, just want to point them out. They did not have corner pieces available, so we sort of did our best to manufacture our own sort of corner. And I don't think it's too noticeable, this sort of unfinished edge. What do you think?
I didn't notice that till you pointed it out.
Yeah, so we just had to live with that. Because this is like a heat release unit, you could do a TV really close, or you can even do wood panels. Like if you didn't want to do combustible or non-combustible stone, you wouldn't have to. You could do wood, basically right up to this with this heat release. I went with the heat release just because the amount of BTUs coming out of here, it would like blast you too much. So I wanted some of that heat dispersed. So we have our vents on the side. So we have just radiant heat or ambient heat coming out of there. Obviously it looks unfinished still. I think what I'm gonna start with is painting the insides of that all black. And then I was thinking about maybe even cutting some of these fluted pieces and sort of putting like 4 of them in here. Yeah, I can feel that heat. Putting like 4 of them in here to kind of break that up. We went with the Samsung Frame 65-inch TV. You see these in a lot of our videos. I think they're a great complement to fireplaces because a big black TV on the wall, like again, we want this to be the focal point. We don't want this to be the focal point. This needs to be. So Samsung frames are great for that because they just look more like an accent piece. Don't you agree?
I've got one above my fireplace too. It's the way to go.
Yeah, which we got to change your fireplace out. That's coming next. I think we should have went with a 75-inch. The 65-inch just feels a little small. I kind of wanted it to be symmetrical with the fireplace. I always tell customers, make sure the TV doesn't swallow the fireplace, right? We don't want the TV so big that you can't see the fireplace or focus on the fireplace, especially with the linears. I think with this being such a tall square model, I think we actually could justify the 75-inch in this space. Now this light piece does not match. And once we get our couch in here, it hangs way too low. So it's gonna be an obstruction to the TV. So we're gonna be changing out that light piece. So you can start to see when you change a fireplace up, it really changes the whole dynamic of the room, and you might have to change or mess with a couple other pieces. I love how that flame is centralized, because the last thing you want is in a firebox this big, you don't want that flame so tiny that it's just a big empty box. That's gonna look dumb. So the fact that we got big flames that fill up that firebox is nice. Now I have the sandstone panels in here, and I was a little bit afraid of them because after we did the stone, I started feeling like the sandstone panels started looking too yellow. Like this is very creamy and white, and the panels are really yellowish. And I was nervous that it's like too much going on and contrasting. But when we look at it from the whole evolution of the living room, my floors are really more yellow-y, or like, you know, that sort of natural oak color. And I actually think it adds warmth to the space, and it matches the floors. So another option, I could have went a totally different route. I could have went like black reflective panels or plain black, and then like a white birch log would also really accent that nice, because the white birch would contrast and really match these panels, or this tile rather. But that look sort of is more like, again, it ties it back to more of a modern contemporary look. So I wanted that traditional warmth of the traditional firebox. What's cool is they have a lot of options. So depending on whatever your situation is, you can mix and match to accommodate what you need. I ended up going with the yellow herringbone. That is the split oak log set. You can do, again, like a white birch or something different. I think I'm gonna keep it with the sandstone panels. I think I like those the best. The location of this box changed a little bit. So you can see the flashing that we put in there. It actually worked out pretty nice. I didn't have to like change or mess with a ton of the siding. Let's say the old box was here. You would maybe have to move it up and do some siding repairs. We got pretty fortunate there, but that is something to keep in mind when you're planning your project at home, is you may have some small siding to fix. That kind of scares people away. But again, it's just between these two windows. So this would not be a big repair, even if I had to replace 2 or 3 boards. Wouldn't be the end of the world. Pretty simple to do. So don't get scared away by something like that. I kind of really wanted more of an open firebox. Part of the reason I didn't do that is we have a rooftop patio up there, and an open firebox requires vertical venting all the way up. And I can't with that rooftop patio there. So I needed something that would terminate out the wall horizontally. That's why direct vent units are a really good option. If you can only go out the side, direct vent fireplaces are gonna be what you wanna stick with. It does come with a handheld remote. You can put this in thermostat mode. You can toggle the night lights on and off. You can't really see it that much in the daytime. So there it is off, and you can see it has the down lighting. That's really, really nice, especially in the evenings, just to sort of set the tone, even if you don't have the flame on, like in the summertime or something. Another point with this herringbone panels is the night light looks really good on brick panels, more so than like a black reflective. It looks really attractive on that. And another reason I went with the brick is because the firebox is so big, I didn't want it looking like a big empty like black hole, like a black rectangle. So that's why I went that route. Really, really cool. It's like a zone heater. We've been had it on for about a month, and it definitely heats the space, no problem. It actually makes it significantly warmer on the whole main level, and you can feel it going up the staircase as well. So even though it's not advertised as a whole home heater, it can definitely be used as a heat source when you upgrade to a nicer unit like this. So you probably are noticing we don't have a couch here. My wife ordered the rug and the couch from the same place. She got a text message that they were delivering our couch, so she quick sold our couch on Facebook. Turns out it was the rug that was getting delivered, not the couch. So we don't have a couch right now. Remember, the old range hood matched the fireplace wall, so we wanted to continue that theme. So we raised the range hood up and then put the same matching stone. Again, I think there's personal taste, but I think this just looks much more attractive. But you see how everything starts to tie together now. All right, so that's a wrap on this project. So obviously we have several projects going on here. Stay tuned on the channel for that. Of course, the first thing we had to address was get rid of that terrible fireplace. That had to go immediately. So the fireplace project is done. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see more videos like this. We do a lot of before and afters, even in customers' homes. And let me know in the comment section what design features you'd like, what you would do differently, any tips or tricks you have for me. And hopefully the goal of this video is, if you're feeling like you want to redo your fireplace at home, but you're so overwhelmed on how to do it and how to execute it, hopefully this video helps you out. Stay tuned for more.